Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I am going to be starting here soon. I'm not quite sure why this is showing this on my screen. So let's go ahead and delete. There we go. Hello, hello. I am so excited to be here and looking forward to sharing guidance today here on our official second episode of the Awakened Superhuman. And let's start with some questions and some invitations. So, what if the abilities we've been taught to dismiss, like telepathy, intuition, prophecy, telekinesis, time traveling, are actually our greatest gifts? In this episode, like we've done before in the last one, we are really just going to be stepping into exploring the fact that we are more than human. I will share qualities around my personal journey, but also understanding that supernatural is meeting us every day. That in so many ways, we have been anointed. Thank you. The angels are saying we've been anointed with the abilities that go beyond the normal, that we can perceive, experience that reality that we see, can touch from this human perspective more in more ways. Thank you. In more ways that gives us access to details, information, and opportunities that go beyond the human laws, the human possibilities. So as we dive into today, we will be exploring why so many of us are waking up to our true nature at this time, and how this time is actually perfect, and everything that's happening is offering us the opportunity to awaken into peace and ownership more than ever. That regardless of what seems to be going outside of what we think we want is actually happening in our favor, and how you've been completely prepared for this time, that you've been literally shapeshifted. They're audibly saying you've been shapeshifted and prepared for all the unfoldment, and you are actually on the other side excited in the welcoming of what's about to unfold with our collective. So in today's conversation is how to lean into that knowing and how to master more of its ownership. And I can't wait to meet you here on the other side and understand that, again, more than ever, thank you, we must wake up to our true nature, and there's no stopping it. And it's time for you, for me, for all of us to remember who we really are. So welcome to the Awakened Superhuman. Let's dive in.
You are listening to the Awakened Superhuman podcast, the show that delivers the insights and strategies into living above being human. We are in an era of superhumans, and your superpowers are needed to manifest a cosmic destiny. My name is Emily, the Angel Coach, your host, an internationally recognized intuitive coach, teacher, and thought leader. I've worked with celebrities, CEOs, influencers, and individuals of varying ages and backgrounds. Join me as we reveal the how into awakening your superhuman so that you can more easily design a life of clarity, purpose, and delicious fulfillment. It is time for us to rise, create, and manifest a cosmic destiny.
Yay! So I am Emily, also known as the Angel Coach, your host. And for as long as I can remember, I have lived between two worlds, the seen and the unseen. My first memories of the supernatural began when I was just about 3 or 4 years old. But at that time, I didn't have the words to call them supernatural. To me, it was very simply said life. It's what was natural. It's what I knew. And I always share that my first memory actually involved a lot of manifestations of light coming to teach me when I was a little girl. And they would say to me that I was being taught or trained to what it is that I was here to do, and that my role was to remember. Not just remember who and what I was, but to remember why the time was happening now when it came to human experience. And that, thank you, that we were being invited to let go of a lot of our own thoughts and ideas about what it meant to be human. So since a little girl, I've been getting these beautiful teachings and experiences with these manifestations of light that have literally showed up as my teachers, helping me not to just understand my human nature and how my brain and my body work, but also how others are working in the same way, and how to reset ourselves into our understanding of the light that we are, the presences that we are, and how we are really, thank you, they're audibly saying that we're truly from a cosmic nature. So we're getting a chance to remember this. And it was interesting because I was taught not by textbooks or structured teachings, but again, by these manifestations of love that I called angels, or at the time would just call God. And all I knew is that from my upbringing, because it was very Catholic, I could only label it to what my limited language was, which was, again, the idea of the concepts around God, Virgin Mary, Jesus, and even the angels. Those concepts felt very understood based on the reality that I was being brought up in. But as life unfolded and evolved, which you'll get to hear more of my story of that, the understanding of what the different experiences, what they were intended to bring forth, have helped me to find many other words to describe to help other people understand. Now, the first experience, I'd like to share always my first experience that I can consciously remember. That doesn't mean that there weren't others, but what I can consciously remember, I was around 3 to 4 years old, and there was this beautiful presence of light that had the person or the presence looked very oriental, what I could describe oriental, beautiful presence of love and light. And it was sitting with me in my bed, and people always ask, well, how did they look? Well, the best way I could explain it is that they were full light, and they had a border to them, meaning like I can very clearly see characteristics, which again I can describe as oriental. And they're audibly wanting me to say traveling sage. I don't think that that's what I've described it as a child, but they're audibly wanting me to say that. And during that time, this beautiful presence was showing me and teaching me for days, multiple days, how I was more than human. And it would share with me that and as a humanity in this physical human experience, are very fragile. The human is very fragile. But it kept sharing with me and teaching me telepathically, it's the best way that I can express what was happening, that in our remembering and in my remembering, I needed to know that I was more than the human that I would come to own. And that in my remembering, I would come to recognize that my source, my soul, my presence was actually very, very powerful. And that as I would go through my journey, that is my purpose. That would be my purpose, to not just remember for myself and experience that truth, but also to help others do the same. And this presence would give me the best way I could describe it, actually, the only time I've ever seen something that mirrors a lot of what I remember holding in my hand, was in the home of, oh my gosh, Yogananda's home in Encinitas. He's got all these gifts that he received from people from all over the world. And there's these little figures that are like cartilage. And that's what I would hold as this presence would teach me. And it would show me how to carve it, how to mold it, how to shape it. And it would show me how it would easily break. When I was leaning into my human, it would literally, it was so frail. And I would remember getting so frustrated. I did not like it. I do remember not liking doing this exercise, but it would break. And then it would teach me that if I could connect to what was inside the cartilage, the energy, the experience of the cartilage as not just a cartilage, but more than the cartilage, I could see its true strength and power. So many different teachers would show up as a little girl. And again, they all would come and teach me this understanding. And it would also happen that I would be going day to day, and with my family, with my parents, with my siblings, with family that went outside my inner circle, but I would get to witness how the logic would work. So they would share with me, I could see people's thoughts and I could see people's experiences or emotions. And I was always reminded that there was more. There was more to that story and more available. So it was always fun because I would feel this deep love for people, this deep love. And thank you, they're saying empathy. So sometimes I would feel their emotions. Sometimes I would hear their thoughts. Sometimes I would feel their nature inside of my body. And yes, at times it felt uncomfortable. But what I do remember most, I didn't remember the discomfort as much, but I did remember that I could help them, that I had something to give and offer. And during those experiences, the angels and the manifestations of love that I like to call now were very present in helping my human not move into doubt or judgment, but to move into understanding, the best way I could explain it now. And I would feel this great love for them. And as I would feel this great love for them, I would also know that I could influence them in positive ways for them to feel more love, more connected, more peace, more excitement, whatever it is, the emotion that I could see was available to them. So that has been my journey my whole life. And especially when I was a little girl, there was just a lot of very vivid memories of not just, thank you, they're audibly wanting me to say this, I had a lot of outer worldly experiences. Another experience I talk about often, and again, there's a bunch of them. So as we get to know each other here on these conversations, I'll get to share more of these stories. And I know that I'm sharing these stories because some of you are going to be like, oh my gosh, that happened to me too. And some of you are going to be like, oh my gosh, my little man, my little girl, my child talks about this. My sibling used to talk about this. And understanding that it's not just me. There's a whole family of us. There's a lot of us that have had these experiences and either have been talking about them and loved ones embraced it and encouraged it, or talked about it and loved ones shut it down and said, that's not okay. You must stop it. It's evil, right? It's like all these things could have happened. And then others of you have these experiences, but somehow you don't remember because of the required shutdown to appease others and their own experiences around what they thought those things could mean. So as I share in these conversations, I'm inviting you to just lean in. I'm inviting you to get out of sometimes can be perceived as logic and to just feel and experience what is being shared and embrace what resonates and let go of the rest. But my intention is to, thank you, got it. Yes, I love it. The angels are saying my intention is to really call us home into remembering who and what we are, call us into experiencing that the fact that we are definitely more than human, that just because we can perceive that reality that is around us, it does not mean that that's the totality of who and what we are and what's truly in front of us. So as we dive into these conversations like today, how you're here on purpose and how right now everything is happening intentionally, and whatever side of the duality you're in, we are here to be part of a beautiful movement. And that more than ever, we are remembering not just these memories, but we're having these experiences that are helping us, thank you, that are activating, they're audibly saying, that are activating more of the recognition that we are ultimately co-creating here, that we're not bystanders, but we're here ultimately co-creating and resetting new standards for ourselves with how we think and how we move forward in life and how we attach and untangle from stories that are not really ours to have. They're just things that we've borrowed along the way. So as I get to share these conversations, whether you are conscious of it or not, I know that we are designed, my journey and who and what I am is designed to be a catalyst of light, to be a catalyst, thank you, of remembering. It's what I've been getting trained to do. And I don't do it consciously at times. It just happens. And I hear it over and over from people where it's like something snapped, something shifted, something awakened. It's not even anything you said. It's just I felt it. So as I get to do these conversations with all of you, it's an opportunity to activate that part of you that has been ready to come home into its remembering. And when we do activate that and we experience that, what happens, we experience life on another level. One in which life force, prana, thank you, our own heightened awareness and our own peak states become natural and organic versus us pushing ourselves or pushing the definition of what's possible based on force. And we step into the experience of this fluid state, thank you, this flow state that so many of us crave to experience. And understanding that this show and the reason we do this and why I'm here and why we're doing this is because I know I'm not alone in this. I know that as I show you that I've given myself permission to own who I am, what I'm here to do, that you get to own it for yourself. It's interesting how much energy is moving on my face. Sorry to keep touching. I like literally feel energy moving on my face. And let me ask them what it means real quick before I continue. Got it. I love that. They're audibly saying that apparently in some of my shows, you are going to see my face changing, which has only happened at live events and retreats. So this is going to be fun if we get to witness this on live shows and we get to record this. But they're saying that there is going to be movement in my energy, and some of you are going to see things beyond just my face. Oh, that's going to be fun. Ooh, I did not know this was going to happen. So this is exciting. And by the way, when I say I didn't know it was going to happen, if you've seen my work and you've worked with me, I am very much in my awe and wonder and in my innocence, meaning that I am very unattached. I completely surrender in these conversations, in my events, in my sessions, in my readings, and my coaching. In this, I surrender because I know that what is going to come through will meet you where you're at. And that is what I desire. That is my goal. That's my intention. So when I'm saying I didn't know this, I was not in any way informed by the angels and the divine and the infinite presence of love that we were going to be experiencing some shape shifting for some people to see different things. It might not happen in this show. It might. We'll see what happens. But know that it's intended to serve you. Okay. Many of you watching right now, again, have been having experiences that you can't explain, knowing things before they happen, feeling emotions that aren't yours. Like I shared as a little girl, that would happen often. It happens now too, but it's more intentional, which has been amazing, meaning that it doesn't just happen out of the blue, even though it can happen, but not as much. So it allows me to be very present and understanding like, okay, this isn't mine. What's the message and how can I be of service through it? Some of you are also sensing presences that are not that no one else can see or notice. You might see stuff, hear stuff, or feeling in your body. Some of you are having very prophetic dreams and visions that you're like, how the heck did this happen? And at times I've met many people who are very afraid of what they see, and they're like, well, what if I made that happen? And no, it's not the case. You sometimes get precognition, you get prophetic visions and dreams because you have a role to play in it. Either you could just hold the decision that you're going to respond when those things unfold versus react, or you could also just say, okay, how can I implement the inspired actions that can help create change, not just for myself, but anybody else who's involved in that vision. Some of you have very deep inner knowing that you're like, I don't know how I know, but I just know. So this show is for you. The show is intended to serve you. And again, we get to step into it together. So today's conversation, and there's several things that I wrote down as I'm going through my notes, but we are going to go ahead and shift a few or a little bit based on how I'm feeling the energy. It's about really focusing on helping you own your confidence during this time. And there's an exercise. So my intention is also to give you guys exercises along the way to help support your homecoming, your coming to yourself, your realization of your gifts, and the fact that you are supernatural. And this week is a very special week because we have an eclipse happening. So if you are following me, or if you're following me, you know that we've been talking about the eclipse that's coming up in the portal that the angels are saying are going to be experienced. And if you're not following me, connect with me at The Angel Coach. You can find me in IG. That's a wonderful place and space to continue our conversation, but also on my other social medias and on my website. But in this portal specifically, I'm not someone who keeps up with the astrological experiences. And I think it's great for those people that do. It's just, for me, it's just not what I'm encouraged. They don't encourage that. But again, it keeps me in a state of innocence. So the other day, these angels and manifestations of love, energy's moving to that, because apparently several of you have to hear that. We're at a time where we're being invited to step into that space of awe and wonder so that you become receptive and available and experiencing things like this that are not preconditioned or pre-designed in a certain way that are going to impact your knowledge and your availability to receive and your momentum. Meaning that we're at a time where a lot of rules don't apply. A lot of things that used to be in the old paradigm can't fit nor will work in this new paradigm. A lot of things that were the frameworks before, because the humans, our ancestors, right, defined what certain things mean and what it could do and what is possible, are no longer in the mind frame. They're saying the energetics in the mind frame aren't necessarily able to fit the current dynamics of what's possible. If we just use that, we're only creating more of the recycling, more of the limitations. If we rewire ourselves, and again, we're going to give you guys a lot of tools around this in the show, the more you allow the rewiring and the internal and the external conversations to be more around the knowledge of awe and wonder, you're going to quantum leap into experiences because you're not using the old, you're using the new experiences of the soul and consciousness, energy and codes and all these amazing, yummy things. Okay. So as we step into this conversation, whatever you think I'm going to talk about, set it aside. Whatever you think, set it aside. And not that you are moving into ignorance, but you are moving into receiving, a receptive state that allows you to be open and available to more than what you've ever known before. Because if you're still breathing and alive, guess what? You've been designed and you are blessed with the opportunity to continue the evolution of who and what you are. And the more you allow that, it doesn't just bless you and your journey, it blesses me, it blesses my babies, it blesses all of us collectively. So owning your confidence during these times. So a lot of things are shifting. And it's interesting because in one of my coaching calls, they did bring this up, this idea that we are at a time of answered prayers. You yourself are an answered prayer to one of your ancestors. You showed up as an answered prayer. And understanding that in answered prayers, we will and must witness chaos. And I know it's a hard thing to conceive and understand. Chaos doesn't have to be bad. What chaos means is that old structures must crumble and change. Old identities must be surrendered and let go of. We must let go of what has been to welcome the answered prayer. So when I say chaos, I know it might instigate for some of you like, oh, what, is she saying everything bad? No, not at all. Chaos can be very passive. Chaos can be very delicious, exciting, passionate. It can have all of this yumminess energy, and it doesn't have to be negative. But what we mean with chaos is that energy and structures must dissipate, they must expand, they must restructure themselves, they must lose, right, the hold that has been in place for something new to be created, for something new to be experienced and manifested, for something new to become. So where we're at collectively, we are witnessing some of the chaos as the old structures in our mindset, in our systems, in our ideologies, thank you, and how we do day to day, those things are shape shifting and they're restructuring so that we can create something new. We're at a time of answered prayers. So as we step into this concept of owning your confidence through these times, is because in this moment, you are an answered prayer. That means someone prayed you into being. Someone decided in the journey, like there must be, I am inviting and praying for this. And you on a soul level, conscious level, say about me. I'll do this. I'll show up for this. I'll create the healing. I'll go ahead and help untangle my family generationally from this trauma or from this repetition. I am going to show up and be the one that loves. I'm going to show up and be the one that forgives. I'm going to show up and be the one that creates. I'm going to show up and be the one that claims abundance. I'm the one who's going to show up, who's in freedom. I will be the one. So we raise our hands energetically and consciously. The consciousness shows up and it is in response to an answered prayer. So as we explore this concept, is that there is a you that is in ownership of this knowing. There's a you that has orchestrated all that is required, known and unknown, mentally, emotionally, physically, energetically, in all levels to experience the magic that is you, the anointing that is you, the gifts that are you. So as we own the confidence that I've got this, there's a greater I am that has defined it and is able to redefine the possibilities. You are able to make yourself available into this other paradigm, but also this greater you that is leading the way, that is speaking to you, that is showing you, that is holding you, that is orchestrating ahead of you way more than your human has a conscious awareness of it. So whenever you're seeing the uncertainty or feeling the uncertainty, one of the things the angels have taught me is that you can literally tap your chest 3 times. I'm coming home. I choose to come home to the truth of who I am. I'm coming home and I choose to come home to the truth of who I am. I'm coming home, and then in your forehead, I choose to come home to the truth of who I am, and taking deep breaths. And in that moment, then you're going to link both of your hands, right hand on your forehead, left hand on your heart. I own the confidence that is me. I'm owning the confidence that it's me. I'm owning the confidence that is me. And in that moment, inviting for clarity, inviting for insights, inviting for miracles, inviting for movement, inviting the knowledge, inviting the letting go, inviting. And you're going to take in deep breaths. And as you take it, thank you. They're saying savoring the moment. So taking deep breaths and savoring the moment. And thank you. What they're saying is that you're activating not just prana, which is your life force, you're activating the thank you, the home connecting cord. I've never heard them say it like that. The home connecting cord. So that as you connect that cord, what becomes available is that you become the antennae, the receiver. Thank you. I haven't shared this like this before. It's so good. Become the antenna and the receiver for that knowledge and information to come through. For that knowledge and information to come through. And then from there, you become the receiver of the inspired actions, the thoughts, the conversations, the emotions, and the movement. And it's about taking a moment, whether it's like they're saying at least 3 minutes. So at least 3 minutes where you're just holding that space of being in that cord acknowledgement, that you're staying there. And they're showing me a very interesting vision of like that idea of the umbilical cord, right? It's like just like a baby inside the mom. No matter how much you go around it, it's like that baby can go left, right, upside down, and all the places. Like that umbilical cord is connected to mom. And in the same conversation, obviously different as well, is that you have an umbilical cord, and a light umbilical cord to that consciousness, that love, that presence, that is source, that is infinite intelligence, that is cosmic in nature, and that can guide you, provide for you, and show you the way. So when we take 3 minutes to give ourselves permission to absorb the knowledge and be present in the knowledge, we're going to feel the pull into what's next. Literally, we're going to feel the pull, they're audibly saying. And if you don't feel it in the moment, just know that it will come. It will be revealed. Inevitable, and it will be given, and it will come. So it's about allowing yourself to be in a receptive mode as the knowledge will, can, and must show up. And as it shows up in your day, in your dreams, and in the next few days, it's about not, because this happens a lot to people. They'll push it aside. Oh, that was just a coincidence, or that was an accident, or like maybe, like, could it mean this? Could it mean that? No, take the insights, take the signs, take the repetitive numbers, take the dreams, take the information, take the repetitive music. They're saying the songs, and those are part of your answers. And then just like a child starts taking their baby steps, it's just taking that first step, that second, that third, and fourth, and understanding that it's going results that are going to awe-inspire you if you commit to that interaction and that conversation. And my suggestion, thank you, is for you to actually do this breath, right, and activation every day for the next 10 days, or say minimum 10 to 20 days. And you're going to go ahead and see that cord and make space for that knowledge to come in, that information to come in, and notice not just in the moment. So giving yourself 3 minutes to notice in the moment, but notice how it shows up at night or in the next few days, because they're saying audibly, very loudly, thank you, it will show up, it must show up, it's inevitable. It's about making sure your human is in the state of perceiving it. And by just making these acknowledgments, you're already training your conscious and your subconscious to notice the answers, because they will come. They're inevitable, they will come. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining here on the second episode. I'm excited to keep delivering more insights and guidance and support and love along the way, and looking forward to seeing you on the other side, because we will keep remembering together, coming home together, and mastering more of our supernatural gifts. Thank you. They are reminding me we have the eclipse coming up, and on the eclipse, we are going to be giving you a lot of different exercises for the supernatural, how to activate your supernatural, and it's going to be amazing and powerful. And I think I didn't fully complete that statement about the eclipse and how the angels showed up, and they said there's astrological stuff coming up, and that it's going to be making the supernatural very accessible and available through our own physical experience. And it's a powerful portal, one of the most powerful this year. So it's exciting. So if you do follow me on social, or if you don't, you can find more information at The Angel Coach on my socials at The Angel Coach. All right. Looking forward to seeing you all on the other side. Have an amazing day. Happy blessings.
You are listening to the Awakened Superhuman podcast, the show that delivers the insights and strategies into living above being human. We are in an era of superhumans, and your superpowers are needed to manifest a cosmic destiny. My name is Emily, the Angel Coach, your host, an internationally recognized intuitive coach, teacher, and thought leader. I've worked with celebrities, CEOs, influencers, and individuals of varying ages and backgrounds. Join me as we reveal the how into awakening your superhuman so that you can more easily design a life of clarity, purpose, and delicious fulfillment. It is time for us to rise, create, and manifest